Michelle Davis of Red Hat. It's great to talk to you. Thanks for your time today. How have you seen organizations in the federal government develop DevSecOps environments that allow for collaboration and allow for the improvement iterations that organizations say they want while keeping things secure? Michelle, welcome.
Thank you. Well, first of all, agencies have adopted DevSecOps, and one of the key fundamentals of that adoption is collaboration. That is one of the key principles. All of the stakeholders who are involved in development, security, and operations should meet, and they need to understand each other's goals, their functions, their needs. That upfront result fosters years worth of pre DevSecOps work we used to do. It just makes things so much smoother and allows for the whole DevSecOps experience to go so much better. And then we move security to the left, which is the other key element of DevSecOps that the agencies have doing. And that means that from the very conception, even when we start to include things like GitOps, where if we treat everything like code and we lock it, and when the key is open and they allow that code to change, that first being under lock and key is the first level of security, but then that just perpetrates a whole security pipeline that actually, does code verification, that does audit trailing so that you have evidence, just evidence that why this pipeline is running, where this pipeline is running, and what the results. So just at every given step, if we add that security, it is DevSecOps and the promise of collaboration and security are going to pay off for the agencies.
Are agencies getting better at building these environments the way that you describe them, the way that they need to be built, Michelle?
I think they are because when we started off, it was just so many tools and so many options for everyone to pick from. And I think just giving them an opinionated version sometime helps them get started. And since it's not anything new, it's just something getting very polished. We're understanding where the holes are, where the gaps are, and we're filling them. And even like the combination of just audit trails and SBOMs as compliance and security things pop up, we're adding them, we're filling their holes. So it's getting easier. It can still be daunting, but there's so many ways and so many examples of it done right that it's going to stay mainstream.
What are the common threads in those organizations where they're doing it right? What are the things that somebody could pick up on and say, well, these other organizations are doing it right, so I'm going to do these, whatever the number of items is?
The one couple of things they're doing right is it's measurable. You can't measure it, you don't know if you're doing right or wrong. So it is completely measurable. They're doing KPIs and they're starting small. They're not like, let me drop down a whole cloud, 5 cloud cluster when they don't have the workload that's going to bring them the ROI. So you start small, you work that way up. I kind of think of it as a technologist is I'm starting from like a one container using a Podman or a Docker. I then started to scale as my demand go up and I started to grow my environment. I then started to get secure to actually polish this service that I'm developing with a pipeline. And as they grew and grew, they actually could measure the success and measure the KPIs.
What are the challenges you're seeing these organizations deal with as they're going through the iterative process that you're laying out there, Michelle? And how are you seeing them overcome those obstacles?
Oh, there's a couple of them. One of the pet peeves, as I am guilty myself, is that we treat this new world of IT and everything at our hands as our learning curriculum. So we're not training the forces at the level that they need to be at. And that's because everyone feels that they could self-teach this. And then they realize there are massive steps, again, like measure. Like, are you really doing open source collaboration, or are you just taking bits and bytes and trying to make them work together with no idea of the release cycle or the standards that they're following? There's a lot of education, there's a lot of curriculum, but just making sure that we have an educated and inquisitive staff because things change often. And just to keep, again, as we do a circular loop around the OODA loop and all the things, we need to make sure that we're continuously learning. So that's one of the things that I see is the learning curve. But then once we have the staff, it's just the buy. And I told you, DevSecOps is a collaboration tool also. And if one part of the leg is not collaborative, you have stumbling blocks, you have false starts, you have none of this is worthwhile if nothing makes it into production into the hands of users.
Michelle, it's great to talk to you. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.